What's up, y'all? Dante's here. This is Dante. Hi, Dante. I'm wearing the Zero Shoes branded Ridgeway model boots. Let's get into this video, okay? There's just some credit for the branding of these boots. Zero Shoes is amazing, okay? My name is Evan Strong, the founder of In The Image Clothing Company. This is our main side. One of the fourths to In The Image Clothing Company. What we do here is allow the human body to work, okay? The phrase we say, there is only one way the human body could ever work. There's also no opinion to that, so don't believe me on it. Don't believe me, Evan Strong, the founder of In The Image Clothing Company. I'm in this for life to lead this, okay? I'm gonna be making a lot of videos and speaking a lot of things to a lot of human beings. Don't believe In The Image Clothing Company's team or any of our poodles, okay? We do things with poodles. That's 1/4 of In The Image Clothing Company, okay? Our dog fourth, if you will. What I'm saying is we say things that oppose what a lot of people say, but we do all we can to only speak truth. Things that we couldn't decide. We didn't design the human body, okay? So if you don't believe us, and it still is accurate, it's still correct, it's still truth, then there you go. You don't have to believe in anything and things still exist. There's always only ever just truth to life, okay? You can't even have an opinion on anything unless there's something there first to have an opinion on. You can't have a belief on where you came from that could decide where you came from because you're here first to be able to develop a belief, okay? So there's always only just truth. We're designed in the image of God, in the image of Jesus Christ. This is our clothing company, In The Image Clothing Company. Anything that clothes the human being is clothing, okay? Glasses, jewelry, hats, anything. It doesn't matter what it is. You place something onto the body that wasn't previously there. It's got to work for the only way the human body works. It's got to be at the joints of the body parts, with the joints of the material, or the seams of the material need to be at the seams of the body parts. And there's just only one way all this happens. There's a center line to the human body. There's a vertical gravity pull on Earth, okay? Earth's gravity pulls us straight down, and the body has a center line that meshes with that. Immovable bone, by the way, no opinion. The sternum, the spine, the trachea, the nose, and our jaw. The jaw stabilizes the entire body, but the entire body works by stabilizing. Not only is there a neutral or a center line to the human being in its entirety vertically, and that's left and right, it's front to back, okay, and it's in all the ways. It's also in all the functioning of the body. The wrist has a neutral, straight out from that pinky finger and the outside of the forearm here. It can go down, or it can come up. Keeping elbows at the natural waist. Well, natural, neutral, and normal are synonyms within the functioning of bodies. This is the same for the dogs as well. Okay. We'll get into that. We allow the body to work here, okay? Under In The Image Clothing Company. That's why we're about clothing, by the way. It's just the only thing physically placed on us. No opinion to have. It'd be the same exact explanation if I didn't have a clothing company. Clothing truly is the only fix to human beings' physical problems. At least the physical problems we discuss under In The Image Clothing Company. It's always on us, okay? Airplane noise where there is, okay? Surrounding sounds, construction, right over there. Blunt, bold, raw, and real In The Image Clothing Company. This is how we do it, okay? But I'll wait for just a amount of time for the airplane to be not quite as loud, okay? In the microphone, because it's actually still getting louder. It's still getting closer to us. Okay, still noisy. It's gonna be noisy where it is throughout this video. That's just how it is. in life, okay? The goal is natural on all four sides of In the Image Clothing Company. There you go, natural, neutral, and normal. With the elbows at the natural waist. That's our shoulders at their neutral height. Okay? Pivoting on this collarbone or clavicle, the shoulders come up and in or down and out. Okay? That's just how it works because of the location of the bone, of the collarbone or clavicle. We'll talk about it if we do, where we do throughout this video. We need to keep our elbows at the natural waist, okay? Above the hip bones, but below those lowest ribs, that's our natural waist, where there's no bone until you get to the center line of the body at the spine, okay? And so our elbows are just two bones in the forearm, the radius and ulna, meeting the upper arm bone or the humerus and becoming this thing we call the elbow. It's just a joint, okay? There's rotations at the lower half of it, and then it's a hinge as well, okay? Between the hand and the shoulder, there's the elbow. We lock the hand out from the shoulder at the elbow, and the hand essentially becomes the shoulder. It's been the shoulder the entire time, but there's only one way the human body could ever work. There's no possible opinion. The human body resides in its neutrals, though, or it doesn't work, okay? Meaning it's just on one end of its functioning from the other end with the neutral in between. If it's not residing in its neutrals. That's just how it works, okay? There truly is only one way the human body could ever work. And there's a flight school, too, for airplanes, helicopters, just miles away from here, okay? So there's airplane noise and helicopter noise where there is. And In the Image Clothing Company's videos around this time, okay? Today is the 29th of January 2026, and we're in Utah County. We live up Utah under In the Image Clothing Company, but Dante and I will be moving down to St. George, Utah, the southernmost part of Utah. It's a true desert. It's beautiful. Red rock, sandstone, and it's very warm, very hot in the summers. But yeah, about 3.5 hour drive south from here. That's where we'll set up base camp for life for In the Image Clothing Company. We'll do all that we do through the beautiful, diverse nature in Utah, in the church history, in the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. There's a lot of beautiful things to see and learn and know about in the state of Utah here. And just the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints headquarters is in Utah as well. So we do a lot with Utah. That's a big focus of who we are and what we are as In the Image Clothing Company. And all four sides, okay? But this is the thing with the body. There's only one way it works. There's no opinion. This video's title is Opening Up the Body. What does that mean? Getting the body to be as open as you could have it be, okay? Opening the body, though, ironically, means the body coming as close as it can to the center of it, okay? And that's what I was saying when I said we'll talk about the collarbone, where and if we do throughout this video. We will, because there's a lot happening in the body, with the body just being what it is, a mechanical machine placed onto a rock in space. The rock in space is our earth. The mechanical machine of our bodies is just hinges. It's levers and rotations, and its bones only shaped the way that they are, only the length that they are, and just connecting to each other through tendons, except that's not what happens. I'm thrown off guard because there's a plane again, and I expect it with the airport, you know. I'm used to it around here, but as I say, it just wouldn't quite be the same without the surrounding sounds. I could film these videos anywhere, but it's actually really great to have it like this and have to wait. We have to wait for good things in life, you know. We have to wait for things that God promises us that takes some time for them to come, for us to then be able to receive them. And so this is a good example of that, is sometimes you just have to kind of wait through things, you know. Some airplane noise going overhead. So, I guess I'll do it more. As long as I do, that there's still an airplane relatively close by, okay? All right. Bones connect to bones through ligaments, okay? They just connect directly to each other. And there's a thin layer of cushioning between them called cartilage. And the bones on the ends are only shaped how they are. They just have to mesh, or they just don't mesh, okay? If the bones are just slightly off of how they connect to each other, they won't work properly. We'll wear out the cushioning, or cartilage as it's called, okay? The cartilage between the bones will wear out. Then our bones will be hitting each other directly, and the bones will wear out. The body will be in pain, and damage happens, okay? Muscles connect to bones through tendons. All muscles do is pull. The human body only pulls. A video here under the main side of In The Image Clothing Company. And what I'm saying about the human body just being a mechanical machine is, well, the human body is just mechanics. A video here under the main side of In The Image Clothing Company. All muscles do is connect to bones through tendons at their endpoints, and they pull directly in line. And that's it, okay? Even in what seems like a push, we're pulling muscles on the back side of a hinge joint together to extend the hinge. Muscles pull on the inside of a hinge to close the hinge. They pull on the outside of a hinge to open the hinge, okay? So we can't actually push as a human being. We can only pull to extend, okay? We can pull to extend, okay? There's only one way the human body could ever work. It's pulling endpoints of muscles together where they connect to bones. The human body is about mechanics, and that's all it is. The human body is just mechanics. It's measurements of degrees of rotation, internal versus external, from the neutral, okay? Internal versus external from the neutral, okay? Internal versus external from the neutral, internal versus external from the neutral. In the fingertips to the elbow, in that forearm, in the fingertips to the shoulder, when we lock the elbow out, the hand becomes the shoulder. In the foot to the knee, in the lower leg, there's two bones down in the lower leg, a tibia and a fibula, just like the radius and ulna in the forearm. Internal and external rotation. And then we lock the foot out from the hip at the knee, and the foot becomes the hip, the way the hand becomes the shoulder, and they do the exact same thing, okay? There's only one way the human body could ever work. The pinky fingers and the pinky toes. Let's say it the correct way, though. The pinky toes and the pinky fingers. A video here Dante and I filmed and placed under the main side of In The Image Clothing Company. They're the neutrals. The pinky fingers straight out from the forearm. Okay? The pinky toe is straight forward, out the outside of the leg. As we just walk, it points straight forward. We have different length toes, okay? And so our toes that are different lengths have to roll evenly off the end of all of them to share the weight. And they just would. The thing with the human body is it was designed by God to work. You think about the animals and they just work. Animals don't do stretching routines and workouts. They just function. Animals also don't have clothing placed onto them unless they're domesticated, okay? In the Image Clothing Company, poodles is another one of our fourths. The same thing with allowing the body to work here on the main side of In The Image Clothing Company. We title Letting Dogs Stay Natural on In The Image Clothing Company poodles. We specialize in purebred standard poodles. Dante here is a standard poodle. In case you didn't know what a poodle was, there you go. Standard is the size, the large size of poodle. We give information that applies to all dogs, though, on letting dogs stay natural. Human beings and dogs, it's the same thing. We discuss under In The Image Clothing Company eating, sleeping, standing, walking, sitting, breathing, hydration, but everything we do. The thing is, we're doing all of this within clothing. Dogs, domesticated animals, have collars, leashes, harnesses, bandanas, whatever it is, slip leads that we place onto them. It's like clothing for the dogs. Our clothing has to stay centered, fit correct, just where the body operates. We discussed that under In The Image Clothing Company for everybody who has one, or everyone who has a body. We have a universal human design. Dogs are the same things, you know. Things we place on them have to not alter them, okay? Clothing also, in all the ways that we can possibly have it be made from 100% natural materials, needs to be. Like I said, the goal is natural here under In The Image Clothing Company and all four sides. It's no opinion. There was no unnatural things until they got invented by human beings. Natural is all that exists, and it's all that remains, okay? Okay, just tens of years ago from today's date, we invented, as human beings, stretch in clothing. Materials that are unnatural, artificial, and synthetic, okay? Things like this, synonyms with fake. And they got made into clothing, okay? Stretchy now, sometimes clothing can be. Stretch goes the opposite direction of the only way muscles work. The only way the body works is if the muscles work to move the skeletal frame of the human being. And all muscles do is pull. They just contract, they just get closer together. Muscle fibers fire and pull together. Okay, there's only one way the human body could ever work, but we have opposing muscles to a function, and we stabilize in the center. Okay, opposing muscles to a function, and we stabilize in the center. There's only one way this happens. So this video's title here under the main side of In The Image Clothing Company, opening up the body. Why it's an ironic thing is because it seems backward. Okay. We get the body closest to its center line, and then it really opens. Okay. And I'm going to discuss this quite thoroughly. Okay. We do a lot more, though, under In The Image Clothing Company poodles than just products. We do a lot more under In The Image Clothing Company's main side than just products, okay? Holding leashes naturally so we don't alter our bodies as the owners of dogs is something we show and discuss. We discuss how to be a good owner of a dog and what that really means, and we advocate for doing that. Keeping less dogs in shelters and more dogs at homes. That starts before birth of the dogs we will be breeding. Purebred standard poodles to show how to do it properly. Advocating for purebred breeds, yeah. For the health of the dogs. A lot of what happens, why dogs are ending up in shelters, is because of health complications through improper breeding with a lot of unplanned litters. And then the owners don't know how they're going to pay for all the health problems coming up with the dogs, and so the dog ends up in a shelter. And so it actually doesn't really do all that much good to advocate for adopting dogs from shelters if we can do all that we can to limit dogs ever ending up in an animal shelter to begin with. You would never need an animal shelter to adopt a dog from if all the dogs that got born just stayed at the homes to begin with, okay? So we do a lot under In The Image Clothing Company poodles. A lot, okay? So check it out if you'd like. So, the body, standing on earth, has feet opposing the center line and gripping arches inward. Okay. The feet grip arches inward. They oppose the center line. This is what I mean. The feet pull in so we can open the body. Okay, there's a truck coming. He's probably like, what is this guy doing? Well, I'm filming a video for In The Image Clothing Company's main side. You can check it out if you'd like to. It's on the internet. Posted public for all the humans that could ever possibly see it. Well, not yet, but I will post it. Public. Okay. But I'll wait for this guy to drive by. Unless this guy's a girl, I'll wait for the girl to drive by. It's a guy. It's a truck. This is Dante, my standard poodle. Okay. We've got different length toes, and that's a huge thing. If you ever start anything in your life or in your body, trying to address your body in your life, and not having your toes first rolling evenly off the ends of all of them to just evenly share the weight, then the rest of your body's damaged from there up. It doesn't matter what you ever try to do to address your body. You try to work it out or anything, damaged. Okay, the feet support the body first on Earth's gravity. If you don't have feet, whatever. Okay. Meaning, if you've got an amputation, deformity, birth defect, major surgery, anything like this, or that's not like this at all, but this sets your body apart a little bit or quite a bit, that's fine. Because there's still this need we all have to get as close as we can to the universal human design in all of our own individualistic situations for things like breathing. It just takes the entire body to some degree to breathe through stabilization in every single breath we take. The lungs are encapsulated by ribs, connecting into the center line of the body in the front, wrapping around the ribs, well, wrapping around the lungs is what the ribs do, and connecting to the center line of the body in the rear at the spine, and they expand and contract or open and close in 360 degrees, meaning all the way around in every breath we take, unless clothing's in the way and altering the way they can expand or contract. Okay. Yeah, okay. Clothing. Anything that clothes the human being, the way that God clothes the fields with grass, okay? Anything placed onto the body is clothing it, okay? In the Image Clothing Company, okay? But there's just opposing muscles to a function. There's opposing feet to a center line. There's 2 points of contact pulling together, okay? Keeping 2 points of contact in the feet is a video here under the main site of In the Image Clothing Company. 2 points of contact can be, one point is our different length toes of one foot, and then the other point is the heel of the same foot pulling together to grip and arch. Or one point can be 1 foot on one side of the body, and the other point of contact can be the other foot on the other side of the body, gripping arches inward, opposing each other, because you have to pull from somewhere to somewhere, okay? You can't pull if there's nothing on the other end to pull to you, or to pull you to, okay? There's always 2 points of contact in the body. There's always opposition in motion in the body, meaning able to go one direction from the neutral and the other direction from the neutral, or else there's not a neutral, and then there's just not functioning, and then the body's not a mechanical machine anymore, which is a machine of motion, right? The body just is a machine of motion. So opening up the body, why it's ironic, what I'm saying here is things that we don't normally see. Things like our different length toes. Things like the open rounding to the hand, okay, the open palm or the rounding to the hand. The fingers wrap around the thumbs, okay? By closing the hand together, really closing the fingers to the thumbs, we then have an open, round palm, okay? By gripping those feet arches closed together, okay, toes gripping to heels, and the toes not being spread far apart, but all gripping toward each other, muscles contracting or pulling, the only thing they do to work, our feet closing, in a sense, by gripping arches together, all the musculature coming together, that opens up our legs and our hips, traveling up our bodies, okay? So the ironic thing about it is that we close to open, okay? In the human body, opening up the body comes by closing things. So I'll get into it. I'll explain quite a lot of this because stretch is so damaging to the body. It's just going the opposite direction of the only way the muscles work. That's within clothing. That's just within our daily lives. There's stretchy things now that never existed just tens of years ago from today's date, the 29th of January, 2026. We as human beings live in a modern man-made world placed onto God's natural earth. There's so many things that we deal with, our generation and going forth, it's only going to get progressively worse and more unnatural, that human beings never could have even had the possibility to deal with in the past because they're invented by mankind. The human body is God-made, okay? It's just how it is. We could never take any credit under In the Image Clothing Company for our information we're delivering. It's not even our information. If you can see what I'm saying, the human body's been the exact same since always. It's been the same since God, because for him to first design us in his image, before any of us existed, he had to look like us, okay? There's only one way the human body could ever work, and it'll never change. It's always been the exact same. It applies to your grandkids, great-great-grandkids, and your great-great-grandparents, and their mom and dad, and whoever on any end, the information is the same if it's truth. We have to remember bones are only the shape and length that they are. We have to remember muscles only contract. We have to remember Earth's center of gravity and the human body's center line that have to mesh. These are the kind of things we have to know with the body to understand the truth. There's no new information, no sales pitch. There's just only one way the human body could ever work. And so what happens is we get into chronic patterning. Scar tissue builds up in the body and bone spurs build up in the body when our bodies are trying to work around things physically placed on them. Gravity has the same effect on our clothing as it does on our bodies. I have no sales pitch. I have truth here that I didn't decide under In the Image Clothing Company. And I am in this for life because this is just the case. Gravity is affecting our clothing as much as it's affecting our bodies. Clothing is placed directly on our bodies, and our bodies are trying to operate within the clothing. Clothing has to fit. There's only one way clothing fits this universal human design. The skeletal system, the mechanical operation of this fleshly being. There's no opinion. It's not my choice. But we can understand this stuff, and we can allow our bodies to work, and that's the only end. Allowing God's design of the human being to work, or letting God's design of the dog stay natural. The same thing, just phrased differently, two different sides of In the Image Clothing Company. All four sides come together under our 5-word name, In the Image Clothing Company. But there you go, okay? For the poodles, information that applies to all dogs, and really a lot of animals across the earth, and then for the human beings as well, okay? We just have to let these things be. The body would work if it wasn't altered. Unless yours is slightly different. We're all different where we are. Okay. The body closes to open. So opening up the body comes from it getting closest to its center line. This is the thing with opposing muscles, opposing sides to a function. There's opposition in all things. There's only light because there's dark. And there's only warmth because there's cold. There's opposition. There's opposing things, okay? There's things battling each other, okay? There's left and there's right, and they're kind of battling each other, and then there's a center line to the human body, okay? Do you see what I mean? There's either falling forward or falling back, and there's a center line to the human body. There's also opposing bends in the human body, okay? The ankles bend backward. The knees above them bend forward. The hips above the knees bend backward. The lower back bends forward. The mid back bends backward. And then the upper back bends forward. That's really the neck or the cervical spine. Okay? There's only one way the human body could ever work. That's no opinion. We got to start with our feet flat on the ground, though. Let me talk about this. Opposition in all things. There is, okay, or nothing really exists. In the gospel of Jesus Christ, we discuss this. The gospel of Jesus Christ is just the truth of all things. You catch the phrasing there? It's just the truth of all things. The thing is, there's a lot of people out there that don't believe in anything, and they still exist. What is life? How'd you get here? Where'd you come from? Why is it what it is? And even if you don't believe it is what it is, it's still what it is. And even if you believe it's something else, it's still what it is, you know. Episode 203 is what we're on of another fourth of In the Image Clothing Company, In the Image Clothing Company podcast. We have discussions on the gospel of Jesus Christ. We're all human beings. We're all the same thing, placed on the same earth, and designed by the same God. In the image of Jesus Christ, there you go. It's the truth of all things. If you want to get down to what really happened in an event, there's only what really happened. As if you filmed it and had audio recording and multiple eyewitnesses and there's just no dispute to what actually happened. That's the truth. It always remains, no matter what anyone believes about what happened. There's always only truth to life. Like there's only one way the human body could ever work. And yeah, there's no opinion, okay, to truth. Nobody can decide truth. But God did, and God is the truth. So, opposition in the body, opposing bends, it's impossible to train posture. How could you possibly train your body to mesh with a vertical gravity pull? That's just the body in its resting state. Okay? But only if the body's allowed to be, only if it's allowed to work, only if our feet are flat on the ground. Horizontal, the Earth's surface, perpendicular with its vertical gravity pull, okay? A 90-degree angle, a perpendicular angle, okay? The body standing vertical with its even mathematical opposing bends with Earth's vertical gravity pull. There's only one way the human body could ever work. There's no opinion, ever. It's been the same always, okay? It'll never change. It's not my choice. But I do understand it very, very, very deeply, okay? We have to start with our feet flat on the ground because there's ground under our man-made shoes, okay? The term zero drop in any brand of shoe, Zero Shoes, the brand, like these Ridgeway models I'm currently wearing, incorporates the term zero drop in their designs because you have to live life feet first. That's what Zero Shoes' slogan is. But any brand of shoe as well, it's just like having the feet be barefooted on the surface of the planet, okay? You put a heel under your feet on man-made shoe design, you change the entire body traveling up. You would have to. It's just a lever system, and there's a neutral to the ankle. Pointing the toes is just half the function, plantar flexion, from the neutral. And then there's lifting the toes, which is dorsiflexion from the neutral. There's an airplane coming, okay? There's an airplane coming. There's an airplane coming. Dante, there's an airplane coming. I don't mean to wake him up. He's sleeping peacefully, man. The sun's shining down on him. It's Utah winter here in Utah County, but it's been a relatively warm winter. Anyway, the sun's shining down on Dante, and he probably loves it. You can see him. He loves it. I know he loves it. Airplanes are coming. Just one right there. Okay. I'm not going anywhere yet, buddy. You silly dog. Oh, shoot. You're a good boy, though, man. You are so good. I love this, man, so much. Okay? So much. This is the rest of my life. We're going to be doing this kind of stuff. These kind of things. Yeah, we'll do a lot more cool things as well. Poodle parade events. Bring your poodles. Purebred of any size or mixed poodles of any size. Also, look how natural Dante is physically. How he's able to move. That's what I mean. Letting dogs stay natural. You can look at our dogs under In the Image Clothing Company poodles. You can look at our human being team members under In the Image Clothing Company, and myself, Evan Strong, the founder of In the Image Clothing Company. I'm in this for life to lead it, so you'll see a lot of what we do. We do so much and always will under the gift of video on all four sides of In the Image Clothing Company. That's a huge part of what we are, is just videos. Okay. Anyway, you can see the truth of what we show in our own functionality. You don't have to believe in anything at all. Please don't. Then truth surfaces, okay? Through all your beliefs, it's been underneath them the whole time, okay? It never goes anywhere. So, where was I with the body? Because let's get back to this. Oh, poodle parade events. Bring your poodles, purebred of any size, mixed poodles of any size. We'll get human beings into nature, dogs into nature, have a good time. Subcategories of poodle parade events like Clean the Creek or Rid the Rubbish poodle parade events. We'll actually pick up trash for the sake of our planet and its health and the environment, okay? Don't come for us as far as In the Image Clothing Company's team. Come for the events, come for why we're doing them, come to have a good time. There you go, okay? One of the events we do as In the Image Clothing Company, poodle parade events. We love nature, okay? Our company does, our team members will, the dogs do. The goal is natural. So we live up Utah. It's amazing here, man. we'll go wherever else we do with events and with whatever else we do, but the focus is the state of Utah under In the Image Clothing Company location-wise. So, with the body having its feet flat on the ground, it can work, okay? With the body having feet have opposing sides to the neutral, lifting the toes or pointing the toes, okay? Dorsiflexion is lifting the toes. Plantar flexion is pointing the toes. Each side's only half the function. So the sole of the shoe needs to be flat, zero drop the term. The top of the shoe, that's where we have In the Image Clothing Company's shoelace technique come in. It's nothing to do with us, but it's just what we title the only weave of a rope you can do across the top of the mechanics of the human foot, with ligaments, tendons, muscles, and bones only doing what they do to grip arches inward, opposing the center line of the human body, and not alter the body traveling up, okay? Yeah. One of our two prerequisites, in addition to just where we discuss clothing sits baseline for every body who has one or everyone who has a body, to not alter it, In the Image Clothing Company's shoelace technique. It's the top of the feet, half of their function. You walk by lifting your foot, half the function, and then you point the foot, lift the foot, point the foot, lift the foot, point the foot, opposition. It's in all things, okay? Where the body doesn't move, okay? Dante, dog, man, I'm telling you. I love Dante, okay? We'll have many poodles. One day Dante will die. Dante will live a long time, probably. I can't guarantee anything like that, but we'll have a lot of poodles under In the Image Clothing Company poodles. It'll be awesome, okay? Just what all we get to do with that, okay? For the sake of the animals, man. For the sake of the animals. So here's the thing. The animals do a lot for us as well. The body opening up the body, this video here under the main side of In the Image Clothing Company, we have to remember how the body works. That's the focus with the neutrals. You have to know where they are. That's why we have the video titled The Neutral Pinky Toes and the Neutral Pinky Fingers, except it's actually just titled The Pinky Toes and the Pinky Fingers that I referenced earlier under the main side of In the Image Clothing Company. You have to know where your neutrals are, otherwise your body can't work if it's not in its neutrals. And if you're in this society we live in, with clothing designs shipped across the entire planet nowadays in 2026, okay? Yeah, that never happened in the past. We're all in the same patternings, okay? Oversized clothing, imbalances of any kind in clothing, ropes introduced to the body, tied one side over the other, anything you could tie on or around the body, but shoelaces, drawstrings, anything around the waist, anything around the hood of a top, anything tied on the body, okay? Left-handed knots versus right-handed knots, a video Dante and I filmed and placed here under the main side of In the Image Clothing Company. We need left-handed knots on the right side of our bodies and right-handed knots on the left side of our bodies to be even and centered, okay? Like In the Image Clothing Company's shoelace technique, yeah. But this is the point with imbalances, is we live in a right-handed world. 85%, give or take, of human beings are right-handed. We've got clothing designs all over the earth, just about the exact same nowadays. And if they're imbalanced for just about every human being across the entire earth nowadays, in just about the exact same way nowadays. Products designed to be used with one hand are designed to be used with the right hand because that's the vast majority of the population's hand they'd use to do things with, okay? You can't be ambidextrous in imbalanced clothing. A video Dante and I filmed just a couple days ago and placed it under the main side of In the Image Clothing Company here, okay? You just have to be centered. Clothing placed on you has to be centered. To open up the human body, clothing has to fit. We've got this collarbone or this clavicle, okay? And what it does is it connects from the center line of the body at the sternum in the front. At the very top of that sternum, the collarbone comes up and out to the peak of the edge of the shoulder, okay? It's called a clavicle, it's called a collarbone, two names for the same bone. It's one of the three bones of the shoulder. We also have the humerus, or the upper arm bone, and the scapula, or the shoulder blade, that sits on our back, okay? So these three bones become the shoulder. The shoulder's position is determined by this collarbone or clavicle pivoting, because it's just connected to bone directly on both ends. The sternum on the inside end of the collarbone or clavicle in the center line of the body, and then the shoulder on the other end of the collarbone or clavicle, which is the upper arm bone, or called the humerus, and the shoulder blade, called the scapula. The collarbone's connected directly to bones on both ends of it, and it pivots up and in, or it pivots down and out, just because of the location of where it is. And so this is a huge thing we focus on under In the Image Clothing Company, is the neutral height of the shoulder is the elbow at the natural waist, okay? It's just connected through the immovable bone of the upper arm bone. The shoulder is the elbow, just like the hand is the shoulder. You know, it's all connected through bones. There's only one way the body works. There's no opinion. It could never change. It's never started. God is eternal, the designer of our bodies, okay? Yeah, that's just how it is. Yeah, don't believe me. Don't believe me. Don't believe me. I said it 3 times. Here's the thing, though. When the collarbone pivots up, it comes in, okay? Let me reference a few videos here under the main site of In the Image Clothing Company. Internal rotation from the shoulder to the foot, okay? Okay? Oversized tops and the collarbone. That's all I'm going to say for right now as far as referencing videos about the collarbone. We've got a lot of videos, you know. We do. Okay, 420 actually as of today's date on the main site of In the Image Clothing Company alone, discussing this, you know, the anatomy of the human body in depth, clothing, and how it's the only thing placed onto the body and it's affecting it, getting us into chronic patterning. Free modifications in clothing. We give a lot of free modifications in clothing, okay? Because you would never have to purchase In the Image Clothing Company clothing to allow your body to work necessarily. By any means is what I mean by necessarily. I haven't, as of today's date, the 29th of January, 2026. We've had In the Image Clothing Company for a little over 16 months, and you've been able to watch my body's visual and physical transformation as the founder and leader for life of In the Image Clothing Company through the gift of video. I've only worn other people's designs that I've modified as of today's date, okay? The 29th of January, 2026. So yeah, that's the point, you know, free modifications. We're not about sales necessarily. I mean, we will always have good products to sell once we do, but we're just about changing lives and allowing the bodies to work, okay? Here comes a plane. It's getting closer. I'll wait for just a bit, okay, for this one as well. Look at Dante tuck in closer to his body as he lays with his arms out and his legs out, okay? Or all 4 of his legs, if you will, okay? That's what I'm discussing. Okay. There's only one way the human body could ever work, okay? Opening up the body. This video under the main site of In the Image Clothing Company, this is what I mean. The collarbone pivots up and in, okay, and it gets closer to the center line of the body when it comes up, or it pivots down and it goes away from the body, okay? In a right-handed patterning, the right side of our bodies get dropped lower, and watch the collarbone with this, okay? Farther away from the body's center line and externally rotated. Externally rotated, okay? Well, the point is, that's the collarbone's motion. If it's lower, then it's neutral, and there's a high end from its neutral, okay? The elbow at the natural waist, the shoulder at its neutral height. There's only one way the human body could ever work. So oversized clothing, yeah, you place it on your shoulders, and you pull your shoulders away from the center line of your body, and that closes off your body. When your body goes away from itself, it's closed off. It may seem more open because it's wider, if you will, like this, you know, my arms are farther out, wide from my sides, my legs are farther apart, and you may think you're open, but you're closed off. If you're in external, okay, rotation, from the neutral, there's internal rotation, or there's external rotation, okay, from the foot to the hip, from the hand to the shoulder, throughout the entire body. It'll all travel because the spine just connects the hips to the shoulders. The shoulder is the hand, the hip is the foot, the whole body's just all one, right? It's a kinetic chain, it's a mechanical machine. It's only what it is. Bones are only the shape that they are, okay? They're just like sticks. They're not gonna move unless they break. They only move where they connect to other immovable bones, okay? And so in external rotation, your body is away from itself, but it's closed off, okay? Your body has to come to itself, and actually the closer you can get to your own center line, the more open your body is, okay? As the collarbone or clavicle comes up, it comes in, and now you can really open the range of motion in your shoulder, okay? If your collarbone drops down and out, away from your body, it may seem like your body's open, dropped lower and externally rotated, you're very closed off. You try to open and lift your arm and your shoulder, you feel binding and pinching of musculature and bones in the shoulder, in the back where the shoulder blade hits the rib cage, okay, the scapula hits into the ribs, you pinch muscles between there, your latissimus dorsi is connected to your upper arm bone and then down to your pelvis, okay, the top of the hips and the rear of the hip crest and the lower back, the lumbar spine, and it's just, everything's just bound up unless we can get things in a position where they can open up, okay? And that happens from the collarbone coming up and in. Internal rotation from the shoulder to the foot, that video under the main side of In The Image Clothing Company, that's the collarbone coming up and in. It rotates the foot inward as well. It really does, okay? The human body works from the top down and from the bottom up, even though we're on Earth's gravity, okay? And it might seem like maybe it would only work from the bottom up, you know, with like things affecting it, if you will. No, it works from the top down as well. So oversized tops, they pull your shoulders away from your center line because when the collarbone goes down, it goes out. When the collarbone comes up, it comes in, and there you go, okay? That travels out to the hand as well, okay, the entire arm. So if we want to really reach our arms as far away from our bodies as we can to really open up the body, opening up the body, this video's title under the main side of In The Image Clothing Company, we have to actually get our shoulders as close, really, as they mechanically possibly could get to the center line of our bodies to reach our arm fully extended as far away from us as we could. That's really actually the case. Okay, seen with context, okay, taken with a grain of salt, but not really. That really is how it is, because in order to reach, let's say our shoulders are dropped low, the collarbone is down and out. Now you try to reach your arms forward, and you can only get so far, even though your shoulders are out away from your body. That's not open. that's closing off the mobility or full range of motion, which is the video's title, by the way, full range of motion, a video here under the main site of In The Image Clothing Company. Closing off the full range of motion of your elbow extension will happen if your shoulders are dropped and farther away from your body. You might think you're already reaching some, but no, to extend your elbow all the way, okay, and get your hand as far open or away from you as you can, you have to actually pivot up and in on the collarbone, closer to the center line. Okay, I'll do it like this. Watch my feet up to my hands. As close as you can get to the center line of your body, that's how you can reach the farthest away from you. Watch my shoulder come closer to the center, closing my body inward, okay, to its center line. Then I can really reach. If my shoulders from the collarbone pivoting down and out go away from my body, my hands can't even reach as far. That's just how it works mechanically, man. Okay, the human body is just mechanics. There's no way around it. There's no possible training to the human being that could ever benefit it. I phrase it like this. This is really what I mean by that. It's impossible to train the human body to get it to do anything. It truly is. Bones are only shaped how they are. They're immovable by themselves. The ends just connect to other bones and move. Muscles only pull where they connect to bones directly in line. And yeah, everything just has to track directly in line. And that's what I mean is you get your body as close as you can to its own center line, kind of closing it in on itself, and now you can really open, okay? Look at the legs. If we go to kick and our bodies are away from ourselves, we think we might be opening the body by pointing our feet out. No, you're closing the body off. To open the body, you point the feet in, okay? If I'm going to really kick far away from myself, well, look at my arm. I was just showing what my foot would do, but in order to do it, my arm's internally rotated. My arm's closer to my body's center line so that I can reach as far away from myself as I can. Yeah, that is how it works. That's why this video is what it is, because it is backward. That's why I've been saying it throughout this video. What's the word I was using? Ironic. It's ironic that in order to reach as far away from yourself as you can, you have to actually get your shoulder as close to your center line as you can. That's just how it works. To open up the capsule of the shoulder, it's got to come closer to the body to reach farther away from us than we otherwise could. Okay, external rotation, you're not going to get very far. External rotation, though, is away from the body. Doesn't really make sense, but it's how it works mechanically. Internal rotation, you can reach far. Okay, same with the legs. Internal rotation, from the foot to the hip, like from the hand to the shoulder, you can really reach far with a kick. If you rotate your leg from the foot to the hip, in, okay? Rotate in, and you can reach. We've got different length toes, okay? There's only one way it works. We just have to track evenly off the end of our different length toes. If you point your feet out, what may seem like away from your body, you might think you're opening your body, you're closed off at the hips. You'll never kick far unless you rotate inward, okay? The closer to the center line of your body you get, the farther away from yourself you can reach. And that's the truth, mechanically. That's just how it works. The human body is just mechanics, okay? So, there you go, okay? I'm an athlete, brother. I really am. What I mean by that is just, I know a lot of times you might see me just standing in front of a camera lens under In The Image Clothing Company, me, Evan Strong, the founder, but I'm extremely athletic. I mean, it's not a boastful thing. I just mean my body works the way God designed it to. That's the slogan, by the way, under the main side of In the Image Clothing Company, allowing the body to work. Yeah, mine really does very, very, very well. I couldn't even take credit for it other than doing what it takes to allow it to. It's on the back end, okay? But, yeah, there you go, okay? Different length toes, different length fingers. So we close the hand together. We bring the fingertips to the thumb tips to have an open palm, okay? We discuss, yeah. This is an awesome video. Man. Okay. I almost just want to walk away. This is awesome. Oh my gosh. It's just, I don't know, that's just my reaction. I'm just like, all right. Kind of like a mic drop thing, you know, just like drop it and leave. That's amazing. That I'm able to explain this as well as I am is the point. For the sake of the benefit of helping every single human being to ever live, everybody who has one or everyone who has a body. There's only one way it works. There's only one center line of gravity. We're all on this earth if we are. See what I mean? Muscles only contract. Yeah, it's just what it is, okay? The human body only pulls. And so that's the thing, is we pull to ourselves to extend far away. That's what I mean, is because we never actually push anyway. We're still pulling, even in what seems like a push. We're just extending a hinge joint by pulling muscles on the back side of it together. This is something we've been discussing lately. If you've been tuning in, okay. Yeah, no, under In the Image Clothing Company though, seriously, yes. There's a video titled, man, whatever it's exactly titled, internal rotation is pulling and external rotation is pushing. It's something titled just like that here under the main site of In the Image Clothing Company. This is what I mean when I say there's things we have to remember. Earth's gravity and its centered pull, but things like this, different length toes. If you're not rolling evenly off the ends of your different length toes, nothing else could even matter to try to address in your body. If you can do something to try to address allowing your feet to work the only way God designed them to ever possibly operate, okay? Okay? And that's shoes, you know, that's shoelaces, that's pant cuffs on the top of your feet, that's tags and shoes, that's shoe tongue tabs being removed, you know. Anyway, that's things we discuss under In the Image Clothing Company. Clothing is the only thing physically placed on your body. You're weaving ropes across your feet. You've got different length toes and they only do what they do, or they can't do what they do, okay? Shoot. This is crazy. This is permanent, eternal information, nothing I decided, okay? So, with the hands being different lengths, like the toes being different lengths, what I mean by the hands being different lengths is our fingers are longer than our thumbs. So there's only certain positions we can even do as a human being. There's no possible way you're going to overcome it through training. You've got different length fingers than thumbs. And so really external rotation is a push and internal rotation is a pull. The human body only pulls, but you know, motion wise, just look at the wrist. If the wrist goes back with the palm up, the wrist going back means the elbow has to come in, okay? Or the hand going out means the elbow has to come in just to have motion happen. And that would be with the palm up. The hand going down like this would be pushing forward in external rotation by extending the elbow. If the hand was palm down and the hand then came up, then we could pull backward by bending the elbow. There's just different lengths to the fingers versus the thumbs, and we just have to have opposing things happen to have functioning happen. The hand goes out, if you will, so the elbow can come in, if you will, in pushing and external rotation, or the hand comes in, if you will, so that the elbow can go out, if you will. Okay, that's just kind of some context in this video, really, for that. There's just only one way mechanics can happen, physics work, okay? Mathematical measurements of the length of fingers versus the thumb, and the rotations in the two bones in the forearm, the radius and ulna meshing in the elbow to be able to move. There's only one way the human body could ever work. There's no possible opinion. It's always been the exact same. It's not my decision. I couldn't take credit for it, but we really understand it under In the Image Clothing Company. So when it comes to opening up the body, we have to get the fingertips to the thumb. We have to close the fingers to the thumb to have an open palm. If your hands are always stuck open, you'll never open your body. Well, there's a video under the main site of In the Image Clothing Company here. I think it was in the fall of 2024. Seriously, some of those very first videos titled, man, I'm pretty sure it was titled Internal Rotation is Closed Yet Open. This is what I mean. We close the fingers around the thumbs, and now when our hands are all the way nice and closed, we can really open our shoulder capsule. Okay, the hand is the shoulder, and the hand has to work in line. Okay, there is only one way the hands work. There is only one way the feet work. 2 videos I filmed back in November of 2025 down in beautiful St. George, Utah. Okay, because that's the case. There's only one way these things work, and they track in line. Muscles just pull bones directly in line, so they're either working or they're not. If things aren't in line, things just bind up, okay? And there's only one way the human body could ever work. Closed, yet open, okay? Opening up the body. This video under the main site of In the Image Clothing Company. The hands all the way in line, closed, open, the shoulders, okay? The feet all the way closed, gripped together with that foot tripod, gripped arches in the feet, straight forward from the pinky toes, neutral, okay? That then allows our hips to be open. Where open hips really come from is a video here under the main site of In the Image Clothing Company. And what I was saying is the feet, you know? You can address your hips all you want. If your feet are altered, your hips will always be closed off, okay? Pant waistlines, okay? In the Image Clothing Company, we understand this. You're just placing something around your hips. But opening up the body from the feet to the hips or the hands to the shoulders, there's a video here under the main site of In the Image Clothing Company titled Internal Rotation and the Pinky Fingers. Really, it's titled, that is what it's titled, yes. And then there's also one titled The Open Palm and Internal Rotation. The pinky finger internally rotates the body just because of the side of the arm that it's on. And then the thumb, or if we're talking about fingers, the index finger, but really just the opposite side of the hand, would externally rotate, okay? Pinky finger internally rotates, thumb externally rotates. It's just 2 sides of the arm, and there's just 2 bones in the arm that are rotating over each other, the radius and ulna, okay? So, yeah, that open palm is where internal rotation comes from. Internal rotation is closer to the body's center line, and that's how we really open the body, is by coming into its center line. Internally rotating allows us to open. Weird, but true. It's just mechanics. It's just how it works. Okay, things like the collarbone, things like the different lengths to our fingers and our thumb, the different lengths from the fingers to the thumb, the different length toes, okay? And then now look at this from the feet up to the hips. To open the hips, okay, opening up the body, this video under the main site of In the Image Clothing Company, when we travel up the legs, the upper leg bone is just one bone, the femur, and when it comes up and into the hips, it comes up and in toward the center line of the body, and there's a ball at the top of the femur or the top of the upper leg bone that meets into the socket of the hips or the pelvis. Okay. So as we have our feet look like they're coming in, rolling off the end of our different length toes. I'm gonna move him. Why are you in the dirt? It's okay. It's okay. Oh my gosh. You just hit your head on the ground. That was my fault, but not hard at all, but I just kind of knocked his head onto the ground as I picked him up. We've got the towel for you to stay clean, big boy. You good dog. Also, I think this man has a dog over here. I've got Dante's slip lead here just in case, okay? Advocating for being good owners of dogs under In the Image Clothing Company poodles. Dante's a really well-behaved dog, but just in case, I've got a slip lead here if we were to need it, okay? But just because we've got different length toes, it looks like our feet are rolling in when we walk naturally. They're not. They're pointing straight forward from those pinky toes, but we just grip arches inward from the outsides of our feet, which are the pinky toes. Dante, here. You lay on your towel, okay? Just trying to keep the house clean where I live currently. So keeping him on the towel will keep him a lot cleaner than him just laying in the dirt. Okay, so we're rolling evenly off the ends of our different length toes. We're not rolling in with the feet. Not really, not really. We're putting even pressure on different length toes. But it looks like the feet come in, and that's what allows the hips to open, okay? That's what I'm saying. No, you stay on your towel. You stay on your towel. I'm gonna get a little feisty with them. Why wouldn't you want to? That's softer than the dirt and cleaner too. It's like the hands. The hands grabbing together opens the shoulders. The feet gripping together open the hips, okay? So opening up the body, it seems backward. It seems ironic. That's what I'm saying. You close certain things. Look at my shoulders. Close together to really open, okay? You internally rotate. Even the word internal, it sounds like inside, because that's what happens. The body comes closer to its center to open, okay? Like the legs, you internally rotate to open. Then you can get really big, openness-wise, right? Without pulling on anything, that's the point. You have to do it how it mechanically operates, or it's not gonna work. You're gonna be in pain. People stretch their body. They'll think, all right, I wanna get my arm clear over there, but they're in external rotation, chronically stuck in external rotation, or just in a twist in the body in this right-handed world, okay? Something like this, okay? And they'll think, I wanna reach, and so I need to stretch something to get over there. No, you need to internally rotate, and now you can really reach. Watch the right side of my body open up, or hear this title, lifting the right side of the body. A video here under the main site of In the Image Clothing Company. In this right-handed patterning, our right side is dropped. In our right-handed world, 85% give or take of human beings being right-handed, okay? The natural bend in the knee, the natural curve in the spine, a couple of videos here under the main site of In the Image Clothing Company. If the right side's externally rotated more than the left, to get full extension and range of motion, to really open up and get farther from your body, you have to actually come in closer to your body first, internally rotate, and now you can really open. It's backward, but that's how it works, and it'll never work any other way. I didn't decide it, I couldn't possibly, but you'll never stretch to it. Muscles only pull. We've got opposing muscles, adduction and abduction, okay, flexion and extension in all the ways that you could talk about it in anywhere in the body, internal rotation versus external rotation, okay, dorsiflexion versus plantar flexion. Yeah, we pull to close or we pull to extend. It's always a pull. There's always opposition. If you stretch away from one side, what about the other side? There's just two sides. You have to reside in the neutral. As I was saying earlier, seen as simply as we could really make it be, probably as simply as we could. Left or right, front or back. Okay, and again, external is forward or internal is backward. It's just how it works. It's just bones of the body rotating. It's just length of things like fingers versus thumbs, different length toes. Okay, and I could say this and we could deepen it and I can kind of really get into it even more. Whatever, and a third, whatever. Let me be clear, letting dogs stay natural. I'm fine with Dante laying in the dirt. It's just where I live currently. I'm trying to keep the house clean and I don't need to bathe Dante more than I need to bathe him. You know, he can be out here and doesn't get dirty, really, not very much, unless he actually lays in the dirt. And I got a towel here for him, and I don't know why he wouldn't want to lay on the towel. It's 100% cotton, you know, it's nice. As opposed to laying on these sharp rocks, you know, this is going to be more comfortable for him. It really would be, right? I mean, these will just poke into his bones. That's why I'm upset with him for laying there. He moved like 3 feet away from the towel and just tried to lay on the rocks, okay? Anyway, most of it's just where I live right now. I'm trying to keep the house clean. It's not my house. But I think that's just about all we'll say in this video to give the context on what we need here. Date marked, documented in the Image Clothing Company, the 29th of January, 2026. Opening up the body, it comes from, well, that's what I do. You'll see me like stand, and when I put my arms away from my sides, I internally rotate my hands. Because if I put my hands external, it pulls on my head and it drops my shoulders, okay? It's just how the body works. It's just the shoulders only ever working behind the head, just because they do mechanically. And it's all these other things I've said a few times within here. There's just differences to things in the body that only allow it to work in a certain way because it's not even. Our toes aren't all the same lengths. Our thumb isn't the same length as our fingers. Our fingers aren't all the same length. We don't have the ability to bend backward at the hips, but you can bend forward at the hips, right? Just meaning there's only one side to a lot of functioning in the body, but there's opposition to all the functioning